The week running from Sunday, November 16 to Sunday, November 23rd at St. Thomas Aquinas Major Seminary, Stams, Bamwi, and their host parish, St. Peter's Parish, Bamwi, was marked by rich formation experiences, uplifting liturgical moments, and focus on immediate preparations for the solemnity of Christ, the Universal King. On Sunday 16th, the seminary community gathered in the aula for a formative session with Reverend Father Peter Falling, the seminary counselor. In a one-hour psychosocial conference, Father Falling unpacked the importance of self-knowledge as the beginning of authentic human and spiritual growth.
Spend about 5 minutes describing how you see yourself. That means you take a blank sheet of paper. Oh, unfortunately, there's a blank sheet like this. And then you take time, write on it, how do I see myself? Don't try to hide the bad things about you. Because every human being, we talk about human being who walks the surface of the earth, who has a mass of protoplasm and blood going through, has a long list of strength and a long list of weaknesses. You are not an angel. So don't be afraid to see that you are such and such a person. Don't be afraid. What do you do about it? You work towards improving that particular aspect, and you can eventually beat it.
He highlighted that a seminarian who knows his strengths, weaknesses, and emotional patterns is better equipped to respond to God's call and to work towards self-actualization.
And believe that people can develop their true potentials if only they are sincere to themselves. If you start being evasive and you start thinking that no, if I write this, they may think that I am this. But in the final analysis, you get yourself more entrapped than if you wrote something that is real, what it is you. Then you finally get a good result. You are placed in the right temperament, put it that way, and then you see your real strength and you see your real weaknesses. Then you can work on them. When you see your strength, you know how to maintain them, you know how to improve them. But if you place yourself in another place, just say, no, this is not me. And usually it is not you. If you ask the classes, or if you yourself you do it and finish with that exercise, they call you out and say, this is the temperament that you have given to yourself. They start reading through the strengths, the weaknesses, and the rest of the class. Alright, that is not where you are. Go and sit down. Then you know the result you get to yourself, not so.
Midweek, Stams received a joyful visitor, Reverend Father Vianney Marshall, an alumnus of the 2024-2025 formation year, who was ordained on 28 September 2025 at the Archdiocese of Bangui, Central African Republic. Returning to his alma mater, he celebrated a mass of thanksgiving, encouraged the seminarians to remain steadfast in prayer and discipline. His presence served as a living testimony that the life of formation bears fruit when lived with sincerity.
I took the opportunity to thank the fathers for the formation I received and also to encourage the junior brothers in their studies. What I have to say to them is to be serious in their studies and also to take formation seriously, because the world is awaiting all of us and we know the challenges of today.
Later that same day, the seminarians gathered in the aula for the weekly Rectors Conference by Reverend Father Charles Berignoy, Rector of Stams. Continuing his series on the gravity of sin and the sacredness of the priesthood, the rector drew deeply from St. Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologiae, Prima Secunda, question 73, article 3. He emphasized that the priest, as a man of God, must be rooted in constant prayer, shunning all forms of excessive activism. Highlighting St. John Meriviani, the patron saint of parish priests, the rector presented him as the exemplary model of priestly holiness.
I dare to say to the priest, willingly sensitive to the effectiveness of actions and easily tempted by a dangerous activism, how salutary is this model of assiduous prayer in a life entirely devoted to the needs of the souls, that was the cure of us. I will now quote, "What prevents us, other priests, from being holy?"
On Thursday, the seminarians attended a spiritual directors conference delivered by Father Marcel Putzeka, who also continued his series drawing parallels between the Ten Commandments and the pillars of priestly formation. This week, he examined the Sixth Commandment, showing its connection to spiritual formation. This message resonated deeply with the seminary community.
This was delivered by Reverend Father Marcel Putzeka. We focused our attention on the Sixth Commandment. We were particularly interested in the aspect of spirituality, and the presentation from Reverend Father Marcel pointed to the fact that the spiritual life takes the center of the priest, and a priest that is not well founded, is not well grounded spiritually, of course, will only end up crumbling in the ministry.
This week's focus on spiritual formation highlighted what is already a central pillar of life in Stams. Seminarians are habitually immersed in a rhythm of Mass, liturgy of the hours, Eucharistic adoration and benediction, rosary, apostolic engagements, personal devotions, and participation in small Christian communities. On Saturday, 22nd November, the seminary community continued with the sporting dormitory competition in various disciplines. As the solemnity of Christ, the Universal King, approached, the entire seminary intensified its practice sessions to ensure a dignified and spiritually uplifting celebration. The seminarians of first year theology, whose class was responsible for animating the liturgy, rehearsed chants, responses, and procession protocols with admirable dedication. The week reached its spiritual climax with the solemnity of Christ, the Universal King, this Sunday. The liturgy, animated by first year theology, was both solemn and uplifting, crowned with well-coordinated melodic chants that reflected the community's earnest preparation. After Mass, the seminarians joined the faithful of St. Peter's Parish, Bambui, in a Eucharistic procession through the main streets of Bambui, from the church and ending at Four Corners, Bambui. The Blessed Sacrament was carried with pomp and pageantry. The procession embodied the Church's mission to take Christ into the world and proclaim his universal kingship to all and sundry. This week in Stams was serene and composed, woven with moments of introspection, prayer, fraternal support, and liturgical celebration. Whether through psychosocial formation, theological reflection, spiritual exhortation, or public witness to Christ, the seminarians were invited to deepen their understanding of what it means to be future priests, men rooted in prayer, disciplined in virtue, and ready to bring Christ, the Universal King, to the world. Reporting from St. Thomas Aquinas Major Seminary, I am Franklin Formukong.